So I have the power supply here and cables connected, and I have this test cable for this 6-pin connector. So I'm probing the signals here, but you can get, where is the, let's check here. So both the pin 1 and 2 are connected to ground, and pin 3 is stop. Pin 4 is frame pulse, 1 pulse for each frame shot, and pin 5 is out B marked here, but it's the blooper mark. I needed to make these panels earlier, so I didn't know what the second output would be, but it's the blooper mark now. And then it's the power input, this pin 6, so I have those connected now, then switching on the power, and yeah, let's see. On, then pushing when seeing the text and wanting to change the gear type, then it's normal in 20 gear change. It's normal in 24 fps gear if nothing has changed. My camera has 25 fps gear, so I need to test with this and then change it back to 24. Or maybe not. Maybe you can change it by yourself. Yeah, maybe. I can change it for you. Because I'm Mr. Nice Guy and I can change it for you. So, but if your camera has 25 fps gear, then you need to change it. And when powering up the first time, you need, even if you have 24 fps gear, you need to check which one it is. 25 fps gear. So each time this is tuning. Each time this is powering up, it shows the gear type and tuning. Whether, let's see, let's switch it on and off and on again. So the display software, motor control, and batch 1. B1 was batch 1, gear type and tuning. And then we have the, let's test this one. It does run at least. I will check with stroboscope. So we haven't tested the, so this is the inching. So I recommend before testing the running the camera to set the inching. I did this exactly the opposite. So this is the inching trimmer. So we will, I have smaller screwdriver. This one is broken. Maybe I try to use this. It works, yeah. So tuning way down. Normally I just can I put this camera somewhere? This is annoying because I can't hold it anywhere. So yeah, I'm holding the inching button and tuning this down way down. So need to get it to something like something which resembles 3 or 4 fps. Something like this. But you need to test it because the automatic shutter parking, if it doesn't work reliably, then you may need to tune this, and don't tune it too slow either, because then it might not inch all the time. So you will tune this now to some position, but you need to test with film before closing the cover, because film magazine chases the friction a lot, so you need to then adjust again with film. But this is now without film, and then testing it. Shutter parking worked. Yeah. Test it again. Shutter parking worked. Yeah, this is pretty good. So 24 fps. And where is my stroboscope? I have the 9-volt battery here. Then I have the stroboscope. Let's see the settings. So the super frame rate 24 fps. 24 fps, yeah. It should work like this right away. So powering on and stroboscope. Then yeah, and crystal sync work. You can see the marking stay stable. So this does work. And switches on, off. Shutter parking worked. Yes. So next, crystal sync work and shutter parking work. That's all I need to know, because everything else is already tested. It wouldn't work at all if it had some issues with the components, but I need to test the input-output module, because these are new ones and this particular one is not tested, because I just made the batch. So I need to test all the signals, and I'm testing the cables at the same time. So I'm probing the signals here and testing it, and then I will need to do the same for this connector. I know this connector will work because it's easy to solder. This one is not that easy to connect, so I will need to check this individually, and the power output and everything. But I will check those, and maybe solving some testing which one I test first. So frame pulse. I think I might, if I could get some small summer. I did have one, but I don't know where it is. Those small piezo summers, I had one, but I don't know where. So I may not be able to test that with that. I will test it with LED. So the blooper marker line, was it number 5? Yes, it's number 5. Frame pulse is 4, and that is number 5. So I will test that. So I have the testing setup. I have the blooper marker line is connected here to the LED, and I have the frame pulse output connected to the oscilloscope. And here is the pin 3 was the start stop. So this connected to the ground momentarily starts the motor, and when I think I adjusted the blooper marker in this firmware version so that when the motor has started and it has advanced 2 feet, then it fires the blooper marker. When stopping, it fires instantly. So let's see. Marker stopping. Again. Yeah, that one works. So we got the frame pulse here, and checking, looks pretty well. So checking this backside connector works, so I'm moving to this side connector. So I need to check this polarity of my testing cable, but otherwise it's good. So I now have the front 6-pin connector connected, and powering this on again. I have the blooper marker here, and then I have start stop inching and 4.6 volt output. And I have the frame pulse signal going to the oscilloscope like before. So I can start it now. Let's see which one was start stop. And I need to warn you that there is the power output on this connector. So it's otherwise protected, but if you connect some power to these input pins, there is the start stop and inching input. If you connect some power to those, you will burn the optocoupler on the input output module. It's otherwise protected pretty well, but don't connect any power to these accidentally. So then you will damage the module and you may need to buy a new one. It's not, Apple doesn't take any responsibility if you accidentally short circuit your input output module. So this is easy to change, just remove those two nuts and pull it out from the connector and add another one in place of it. You need to remove the motor belt to get access to it, but otherwise it's really easy. And the bolts are locked to the main board, so they don't even fall off. Just remove the nuts and pull it out, install a new one, then tighten the nuts again, not over tighten, but then you must add some Loctite on them. Or if you have the protection lacquer used for protecting circuit boards, you can use that, like I did. But Loctite is fine for that. So let's first test power output. We should have something here, 4.7 volts, that's fine. Then we do have the inching, of course. Inching does work. Then the start. Blooper works. Blooper works. Inching did work as well. Let's do. Inching works. Start works. Blooper works. Yep. And we have the output here, so that works too. And then did I test everything? I think so. No, I did not. Yeah. The synchronia light. So I have those. Where did I put those? The shoebox. The shoebox is. No, I have so much stuff here because all the projects are late. So where did I put those? Not here. No, I put some glue on the. I put them somewhere. I was in extreme hurry and they are somewhere, not here. Well, I will find them and then continue after that. What I have the sync warning lights here. Well, look at this here. They are so small. Here I put them very nicely and neatly here for drying. So I added some epoxy glue to hold that connector together. Sync warning has to, let's switch this off for a while. But the sync warning has the lower pin has the negative and upper is positive, but some of these are not marked, and that's okay. And the polarity may vary. So if it doesn't work, then you will turn it over and it does. So this one goes to there. I'm wondering what the epoxy might have some issue, but let's see. I will check it later. So I have the sync warning LED here. Where can I put it? Like that, so that it doesn't get caught to the gears. Then testing that too. And it does work. So everything seems to be fine. So I can of course check with the thermal camera here. Yeah. Now when I'm here, so checking the shutter sensor actually. Yeah, I'm checking with the thermal camera again, and then it is done. So let's see. I can run this and see what is going on. So something like 50 degrees is normal. There is the, you can see next to the heatsink speed trimmer, there is the square black part, that is the power regulator, and it should be something around 50 degrees, 50 to 60 degrees maybe in these conditions. That's perfectly normal, so that's fine. Let's see, we have the FET here, 53, that looks good. Let's see if I can see the diodes. So there is, it's difficult just, so, but yes, this looks fine. So I'm just quickly checking that the FET is working fine, and then let's see, there's the, it's difficult to check this and film and talk at the same time. So this works fine. So this seems to work fine. So it works in sync, all the connections work, everything else is fine, but the epoxy glue on the sync warning light connector was not as hardened as I expected, but it might not matter at all. So yeah, just switching this on. And because it's tested this way, then this HC speed might be actually pretty good for your camera or might not. so you will need to check it in any case, but I will take this out and put them all in the same box. So there's one tested system and then putting the next here, but I'm not. Oh, I promised to reset the gear to 24 because this is saved to the memory. So gear type, gear change. So here 24, I'm waiting it to confirm. Well, it takes some time. For FPS gear. That and A tuning. Everything works. So I'm taking this out from the camera, power off. This out from the camera and then testing the next one. So there's one finished system. So if you wonder why my circuit board had two tiny scratches, is it used board? Yes, it's one of the used ones. So I would have liked to attach the cable here and then run the connector, but this cannot be taken off and mounted and connector mounted without doing it from this side. So yeah, this works. So again, let's check. It might take some tiny bit of time for me to checking this epoxy glue. No, it's fine. It's just tiny bit sticky. It doesn't matter. It works. It's good. So how the cables are routed. So this cable goes over that connector and here, either from here or between the bolt and this, but it might be tricky so this is easier. And route it somewhere here and then it is tied down from the center when everything else is attached. And the display cable and the encoder cable go here, but you can route it down here but tie them together if you route them here, because it's too easy for the upper one to touch the belt if they are separate. So tie them together if routing them like this. It might be easier to route them here and add some extra tie there. So it's a bit safer. There's extra cables just so that you can do the routing easier. And extra cables are connected here and tie them down to the post which is under this screw or somewhere else. And you remember do I have the light here? Remember that's how the 6-pin cable comes from the other side to this electronics and motor side. And motor polarity should be checked before connecting the cable. It doesn't hurt the camera if you are running it without film. if it runs backwards, but don't run it backwards with film. So you can test the running direction. Even if everything else is fully installed, and then just change the motor wire polarity from the joint, not from here, from the joint which you made between the original motor wires and this connector cable system I supplied. So yes, those are to remember, and this bolt is very important, and when installation is done and you have checked everything, then lock this down with Loctite or super glue. Very important screw. And if you don't accidentally connect any power was either this 4.6 volt line or any other power lines to the start, stop and hinge inputs, it will burn the input output module probably, so don't do that. I can sell this new modules if you want if you happen to burn something, but it's if you burn the input, then you are not able to use that input, but probably the other inputs are fine. So there is some extra blooper marking output which is not connected. If you want to experiment with this, you can, there is enough current to run a summer. If you want to connect somewhere there, you can solder it there. If you want, I would take the module out to do that. If you want, and if you remove the module, then when putting it back you need to lock these screws with either lacquer or Loctite or something, so that they don't disengage. The module will stay in place even without these nuts, but if there's loose metal parts inside the cavity, they can get to the gears and hurt your camera, so it's better not have any loose nuts nuts inside the camera ever. So if you hear some rattling sound inside the camera and hear that something is loose, then it's better to stop it and open it and check out what the heck is going on, rather than run it and hope that it doesn't destroy your camera. Because if one of these gets to the gears, then it's game over for your camera probably. So not the best idea to do. And if it is common to hear the belt slipping, and you can adjust the belt tension by loosening these for which were locked in the past with red Loctite. So these 4 screws lock the motor position down, and when loosening them you can change the belt tension if needed. If the belt slips, if you hear the loud noises when the camera is running, then probably the belt is slipping and you need to tighten that. This is too loose, but it works still. So this is slightly too long belt actually. It's the wrong size belt. I need to modify this a little to tighten the belt further, but it does work still. So I'm taking this out and testing the next system, but on the next system I will not mount this panel, either of these panels. I will just mount the main board, and the sensor and everything else will be on the table to make it faster to test, because I tested the cable routing and the cable length with this first kit. I don't need to do that with the second one because they are exactly the same. That's why I'm making all the cables at the same time, because I need five 5 of these piping cables, so I'm cutting 5 of exactly similar length yellow wires, and then five of these black wires, and so on, and then assembling 5 individual bundles from that, so they are exactly the same length, plus minus 1 millimeter or so. So this routing will work with any of these bundles from the same batch. But this is, and when the installation is final, then you can tie this down to here if you want. Some thread through the hole, and then something if needed. But it's more important that it doesn't touch here. Yeah, this seems to work fine. And it's, I don't know, maybe 1 AM or something. So testing a couple of other ones. I'm saving the rest for